I worked with a guy for almost 2 years. Every day. Same shift, same office, same conversations. We weren't best friends, but we talked enough that you don't just forget someone like that. His name was Daniel, and one day, he just disappeared. No goodbye, no message, no, hey man, I quit. Just gone. At first, I didn't think much of it. People quit all the time, especially in that place. Toxic hours, weird management. Nobody stayed long. So, yeah, I figured he just left. But then something felt off. His desk. It was clean. Not, he packed his stuff and left clean. I mean, completely empty. No cables, no papers. Not even dust where his monitor used to be. Like no one had ever sat there. I stood there for a second, just looking at it, trying to remember if I was missing something. Then I turned to the guy next to me. Jake. He sat right across from Daniel. Hey, I said. Where's Daniel? Jake didn't even look up. Who? I laughed a little, thought he was joking. Daniel, I said. The guy who sat right there. That's when he looked at me, and I swear, I've never seen someone go blank like that. We don't have a Daniel, he said. Just like that. No hesitation, no confusion, like I was the weird one. I felt something drop in my stomach. What do you mean? I said. He's been here for like 2 years. Jake shook his head slowly. You're probably mixing him up with someone else. Then he turned back to his screen, like the conversation never happened. That was the moment. I felt it. Something wasn't right. I sat down at my desk, but I couldn't focus anymore. My eyes kept drifting back to that empty space. Because I knew I wasn't crazy. I remembered conversations, jokes, things he said. You don't just imagine 2 years of that. So I did the obvious thing. I checked Slack, searched his name. Nothing. No messages. No profile. I frowned. Then I checked email. Same thing. Gone. Not inactive, not deleted account. Just like it never existed. My chest started getting tight. Because now, this wasn't just weird. This was impossible. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen, trying to think logically. There had to be an explanation. There always is, right? That's when I noticed something. My chat history. Not just Daniel's messages. Other messages were missing too. Small ones, random ones. But enough to make a pattern. I felt that same pressure again, like something was slowly clicking into place, and I wasn't going to like it. I stood up, walked over to the kitchen area, grabbed a coffee, mostly just to move, because sitting there felt wrong. That's when I saw her, Sarah. She worked in HR. If anyone knew, it would be her. I walked up. Hey, I said. Quick question. She smiled. Normal. Sure. I hesitated for just a second, then said it. Daniel, did he quit? And the second I said his name, her smile disappeared. Not slowly, instantly. She looked at me and lowered her voice. You shouldn't ask about that. My heart skipped. Why? I said. She didn't answer, just shook her head slightly and walked away. Just like that. No explanation. No follow-up. I stood there, holding my coffee, not even realizing I wasn't drinking it. Because now, I knew one thing for sure. Daniel was real. And whatever happened to him, people knew. They just weren't allowed to say it. I slowly turned back toward the office, looked at that empty desk again, and this time, it felt different. Not just empty, wrong, like something had been removed, and the space wasn't supposed to be there. And that's when it hit me. If they could erase him completely from everything, then what stops them from doing the same thing to me? I didn't sit down right away. I just stood there, staring at that empty desk. Because now it wasn't just weird anymore. It was wrong. Something about it didn't feel natural, like reality had skipped something. I forced myself to move, walked back to my chair, sat down slowly, but I couldn't focus, not even a little. My eyes kept going back to that spot, over and over again, because I knew I wasn't imagining it. I knew him, and now it felt like I was the only one who did. That thought alone made my chest tighten. So I did the only thing that made sense. I started digging, not openly. I wasn't that stupid. If people were acting like this, there was a reason. So I kept it quiet, subtle. First thing, I checked my own files, old projects, shared folders, anything we worked on together. And at first, I thought I found something, a document, my name, and another one. I leaned closer, but right as I opened it, the file refreshed, and the second name disappeared. Just like that. I froze, my hand still on the mouse, because I saw it. I know I saw it. But now, it was gone. I slowly leaned back, and for the first time, I felt something stronger than confusion. Fear. Because systems don't just erase things like that, not without someone doing it. I looked around the office. Everyone was working. Quiet, too quiet. And that's when I noticed something else. No one was talking. Not really. No casual conversations. No jokes. Just typing, clicking. And occasionally, people looking at their screens, a little too carefully, like they knew something I didn't. Or worse, like they were trying not to know. I opened my messages again, started scrolling. Slowly this time, looking for anything. And then, I found it. A gap. Not a missing message, a missing chunk of time. Hours. Just gone. My stomach dropped again, because now I wasn't just missing him, I was missing parts of my own memory. No, I whispered. That didn't make sense. It couldn't. But something inside me was starting to connect it. I grabbed my phone, opened my gallery, started scrolling through old photos, work events, random shots, anything that might have him in it. And then, I found one. A group photo, team lunch. I zoomed in. My heart started beating faster. Because I remembered where he was standing, right next to me. I zoomed more, and my chest went cold. Because there was space. Just empty space. Like someone had been cut out. But perfectly. Too perfectly. My fingers tightened around the phone. Because now, this wasn't just digital. This was real. I locked the screen slowly, put the phone down, and that's when I felt it. That same feeling from yesterday. Like someone was watching me. I didn't move right away. Just slowly looked up. And across the office, I saw him, the manager, standing near the glass wall, looking straight at me, not pretending, not hiding it, just watching. And the moment our eyes met, he smiled. Not friendly, not normal. A knowing smile, like he already knew what I was thinking. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about Daniel anymore. This was about me, because I wasn't supposed to notice. I wasn't supposed to remember. And now, I had. I didn't look away right away. I should have. But I didn't. Because something in me needed to know. So I kept my eyes on him, and he kept his on me. That smile still there. Calm. Controlled. Like nothing about this situation was unusual for him. And that's what made it worse. Not anger, not panic. Just certainty. Like he'd seen this before. Like I wasn't the first. I forced myself to look back at my screen, but it didn't help. Because now I could feel it. That pressure again. The kind that doesn't come from noise, but from silence. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I didn't type. I couldn't, because my brain was running too fast. If he knew, then what did that mean? Was he watching the files, my messages, my screen, or everything? I swallowed slowly, and then I did something risky. I minimized everything, opened a blank document, and typed one line. Do you remember Daniel? I didn't send it, just stared at it, because even typing his name now felt like crossing a line. I looked to my left. Jake was still there, typing. Same rhythm, same blank face. Too normal. I leaned slightly toward him, lowered my voice. Hey. He didn't react, not even a glance. I tried again. Jake. This time, he stopped typing, slowly turned his head, looked at me, and before I could say anything, he spoke first. Don't. Just one word. Quiet, but sharp. My throat went dry. Don't what? I asked. He stared at me for a second longer, then said, You know what? And turned back to his screen. That was it. No explanation. But I understood. He knew. He just wasn't going to say it. And more importantly, he was scared. That's when I noticed his hands, slightly shaking, barely visible, but enough. And that told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't just in my head. Something was very wrong. I leaned back again, tried to act normal, but inside, everything was getting louder. Every small sound, every movement, the click of keyboards, the hum of the lights, it all felt amplified, and under it, that constant feeling, watching. I couldn't stay there anymore. So I stood up, walked toward the bathroom, closed the door behind me, and finally, breathed. I leaned over the sink, looked at myself in the mirror, and for a second, I didn't recognize the person looking back. My eyes looked different, tired, alert, like I hadn't slept in days. Get it together, I muttered. But the words didn't help, because deep down, I knew something. I wasn't overreacting. I reached into my pocket, took out my phone again, opened the camera, and checked the photo one more time. That empty space, still there, like someone had been erased perfectly. I switched to video, hit record. Okay, I whispered. If something happens, I paused. Even saying it felt insane. This is proof. I stopped the recording, saved it, because now I didn't trust anything else. I walked back out, and the moment I stepped into the office, I felt it again, stronger this time. I looked up, and he was gone. The manager, not at the glass wall anymore. Which somehow made it worse, because now I didn't know where he was. I walked back to my desk, sat down, and that's when I saw it. A notification on my screen. Unknown sender. My heart started pounding again. I hovered over it. Didn't click right away, because I already knew this wasn't random. Finally, I opened it. One line. Stop asking about people who aren't here. My hands went cold, because that was it. First contact, and now, there was no doubt left. This wasn't just something I noticed. They knew I noticed. And the worst part? They weren't hiding anymore. They were warning me. I didn't reply. I just stared at the screen. That message still open. Stop asking about people who aren't here. My cursor blinking under it, waiting. But I didn't type anything, because now I understood something. This wasn't a warning. Not really. It was control. They wanted to see what I'd do, how far I'd go, whether I'd stop or keep pushing. I slowly moved the mouse, closed the message. And then, I did the exact opposite of what they wanted. I opened a new tab, started writing everything down. Names, dates, every detail I could remember about Daniel, conversations, jokes, small things. Because if they could erase him, I needed something they couldn't control, my own memory, but even that started feeling unstable, because the more I tried to remember, the more it felt like pieces were missing, not gone completely, just blurred, like someone had gone through my head and erased things carefully, leaving enough to function, but not enough to understand. I stopped typing, looked at what I had written, and even that didn't feel right, because it looked incomplete, like I was describing a person without actually knowing who he was. My chest tightened again, and then I heard it. Footsteps, slow, controlled, getting closer. I didn't turn right away, but I already knew. There was only one person who walked like that. The footsteps stopped, right behind me. And then, "You're curious," his voice, calm, too calm. I didn't move, didn't even turn my head, because I knew, the moment I did, this would become real. "That's not a good trait here," he added. I swallowed slowly. Then finally, I turned. He was standing right there, closer than before, too close. His expression was the same, calm, observing. But now, I could see it clearer. There was something behind it. Not anger, not frustration, something colder, calculation. "We need to talk," he said, not a question, a statement. I didn't argue, because at that point, I knew I didn't have a choice. I stood up, followed him, across the office, and something hit me as we walked. No one looked at us. Not one person, not even by accident, like they already knew what this meant. We reached his office. He opened the door, gestured inside. I stepped in, and the first thing I noticed was the silence. Not normal silence, heavy silence, like the room was sealed. He closed the door behind me. The click echoed, louder than it should have. "Sit," he said. I did, slowly, keeping my eyes on him. He walked to his desk, didn't sit right away, just looked at me, studying, like I was data. Then finally, "You're not like the others," he said. That hit harder than anything else so far, because it confirmed it. There were others. "What happened to him?" I asked. I didn't even try to hide it anymore. He didn't answer, just smiled slightly, and sat down. "That's the wrong question," he said. I leaned forward. "Then what's the right one?" He paused, then said, "Why are you still here?" My heart skipped, because that wasn't just a question. It was a test, and I didn't know the right answer. The room felt smaller, the air heavier, and for the first time, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't trying to figure out what happened anymore. I was trying to figure out how to not be next. I didn't answer him right away. "Why are you still here?" The question stayed in the air, not loud, not aggressive, but heavy, like it wasn't meant to be answered, but judged. I leaned back slightly in the chair, buying myself a second, maybe two, because I could feel it. This wasn't a normal conversation. This was a line, and whatever I said next would decide something. I kept my voice steady. "I work here," he smiled. Not bigger, just slightly deeper. "That's not what I asked." Silence again. I felt my pulse in my neck. Loud. Too loud. "People leave," he continued. Calm, measured. "People forget." He leaned forward just a little. "And people who don't, usually don't stay long." That was the first real threat. Not hidden, not implied. Clear. I didn't look away. I forced myself not to, because something told me, if I broke eye contact, I'd lose more than just control of the conversation. "What did you do to him?" I asked again. This time, slower, more controlled. He exhaled quietly, not annoyed, not angry, just patient, like someone dealing with a predictable problem. "You're still asking the wrong questions." He reached for something on his desk, a tablet, turned it toward me. "Let me show you something." I hesitated, but only for a second. Then I looked. At first, I didn't understand what I was seeing. Just a list, names, dates, clean, organized, too clean. Then my eyes adjusted, and I started recognizing patterns, Same department, same timeline. And then I saw it. A name, half visible, like it was being removed in real time. Letters fading, one by one. My stomach dropped. No, I whispered it without realizing. He watched me carefully, not missing a single reaction. "We don't remove people," he said quietly. I looked up at him. "Then what is this?" He tilted his head slightly. "Correction." That word felt wrong the moment he said it. "Correction?" I repeated. He nodded once. "Some people become incompatible." My hands tightened on the chair. "With what?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he tapped the screen. The list shifted. Another name appeared, fully visible this time, and for a second, I didn't process it, because it didn't make sense. Then it hit me. It was mine, my name, sitting there, just like the others. My throat went dry instantly. "You're early," he said, calm, like we were discussing a schedule. Most people don't notice this stage. I couldn't look away from the screen, because next to my name, there was something else. A status, flickering, not stable, like the system itself hadn't decided yet. "What happens next?" I asked. My voice didn't sound like mine anymore. He leaned back, finally relaxed. "That depends on you." That was worse than any answer he could have given, because now I understood the rules. There wasn't one outcome. There were options, and none of them were good. "If I stop?" I asked. He nodded slightly. "You continue. Like nothing happened?" "Exactly." I felt something twist inside me, because that sounded almost normal. Too normal. "And if I don't?" That's when he paused. For the first time since I walked in, he didn't answer immediately, and that silence was the real answer. I slowly leaned back in the chair, because now everything was clear. Daniel didn't leave. He didn't quit. He didn't disappear by accident. He noticed, just like me, and that's why he's gone. I looked back at my name, still there, for now, and in that moment, I realized something worse than anything before. They weren't hiding the system. They were showing it to me. Because they already knew. I couldn't escape it anymore. I didn't speak for a while. I just sat there, staring at my name on that screen. Flickering. Unstable. Like it wasn't fully decided yet. And that was the worst part. Not knowing. Not having a clear outcome. Just waiting. I slowly looked up at him. He was watching me the same way as before. Calm. Focused. Like this wasn't the first time he'd had this conversation. Like he already knew how it ends. "You're giving me a choice," I said. My voice felt strange, too quiet, too controlled. He tilted his head slightly. "Everyone gets a choice." I let out a slow breath. That didn't sound right, not in the way he said it, because it wasn't a real choice. It was pressure, a controlled outcome, disguised as freedom. I leaned forward. Daniel had a choice too? For the first time, something changed in his expression. Not much, just a small pause. Then, yes. That hit harder than anything else so far, because now I knew. Whatever happened to him, he saw it coming. I looked back at the screen again. My name still there, waiting. And something inside me shifted, slowly, but clearly, because I realized something. If I said nothing, if I agreed, if I forgot, I would stay. But I wouldn't really be here anymore. I'd just be another version of them. Quiet, controlled, looking at my screen like nothing ever happened. Like Jake. And suddenly, that felt worse than disappearing. I looked at him again. "What exactly do you change?" I asked. He didn't hesitate this time. "Perspective." That word sat there for a second, then clicked. Not deleting people, not physically removing them, just making sure no one remembers, making sure they don't matter anymore. And me? I asked. What happens to me if I say no? He leaned back again, calm, controlled. Then you become inconsistent. I felt that word land deeper than anything else. Not dangerous, not a threat, just incompatible. I nodded slowly, because now I understood everything. This place didn't fire people, it didn't punish them, it corrected them, or erased them from reality, piece by piece, until nothing was left. I stood up, slowly. My legs felt steady, which surprised me, because inside, everything was still shaking. I need some air, I said. He didn't stop me, just watched, like he already knew what I was going to do, and that made it worse. I walked out of the office, back into the hallway, and everything felt different. Not because it changed, but because now I saw it. The silence, the patterns, the way people avoided looking at each other, the way conversations stopped before they even started. I walked past Jake. He didn't look up, but I noticed something. His screen, a list, names, just like the one I saw. My chest tightened again, because now it made sense. They weren't just controlled, they were part of it. I kept walking, toward the exit, step by step, and with every step, I felt it. That pressure again, stronger now, like the building itself, didn't want me to leave. I reached the door, put my hand on the handle, and paused, because I knew, once I stepped out, there was no coming back. Not really. I took a breath and opened the door. The outside air hit me instantly, cold, real, and for the first time all day, I felt something close to normal. I walked away from the building, fast at first, then slower, trying to process everything. I pulled out my phone, opened the video I recorded earlier. My hands were shaking slightly now, not from fear, from something else. I hit play. The video started. My face, my voice, everything normal, until the end, the last few seconds. There was something behind me. I froze, because I didn't remember that. I rewound, played it again, and there it was. The office door, slightly open, and someone standing there, watching me record. My heart started pounding again, because I knew who it was. I slowly turned around. The building was behind me, windows reflecting the sky, nothing unusual. But then, I saw it. On one of the upper floors, a figure, standing still, looking directly at me. Even from that distance, I could tell. He was smiling. I lowered the phone slowly, and that's when the final realization hit me. I didn't escape. I just left the building. And those are not the same thing. Because if they could erase a person from inside, what's stopping them from doing it out here too? I looked down at my phone one last time. The video was still playing, but something had changed. The last frame, my face, was starting to glitch.